Hello, welcome to this update for the Survey weather. So yet again, for today on May 19th, we have this moderate risk. They extended a little bit further north now into spots of Missouri as well, Kansas, especially in Oklahoma, and spots of northern Texas into Arkansas. There's this big enhanced risk as well, and stretching from Texas as far north as Nebraska, a slight risk, as far east as South Carolina, and also this marginal risk. So let's see, we have this big 15% tornado threat across Oklahoma into Texas and Arkansas into Missouri and also into southeastern Kansas. And it's hedged for potentially strong tornadoes. There's the 10% tornado threat around it from Texas to Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma, spots of Nebraska. And there's the 502% goes all the way into South Dakota, the 2%. So please be careful. The wind is also 45% spots of Missouri and Arkansas into Oklahoma and Kansas. And please stay safe. There's a 30% and the 15%. So the 45% part of the 30% is hedged for potential hurricane force winds. So strong tornadoes and hurricane force winds possible. This is a serious day. There's like hail, also 45% hail, especially in Oklahoma, Texas, and spots of Arkansas, Missouri, into Kansas as well. The 15, the 5% around it. And all the 30% is hedged for very large hail, and part of 15% is also hedged. So please be careful. This might be up to giant hail. So let's see, significant severe weather is likely from the central southern plains to the Ozarks into tonight. All severe hazards are expected to include potentially strong to intense tornadoes, very large hail, and severe winds. So please stay safe. A large and amplified trough over the Rockies will shift slowly eastward into the plains today. Embedded within this long wave trough, complex evolution is expected. Downstream of the trough, negative shortwave will deepen and close off across the northern plains, while an upstream close low current over Idaho will dig southeastward and open up ejection to the central plains. As this evolution occurs, strong mid-level flow in excess of 50 knots will remain across much of the central southern plains through the forecast period. By late afternoon, mid-level flow strengthened to perhaps 70 knots in response to the ejecting low pressure into the plains. So please stay safe and have multiple ways to receive warning, especially in central to eastern Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and more areas there into Arkansas as well, in Kansas. So giant hail, very damaging winds, and intense tornadoes. Please stay safe. These days not to be messed with. There's this outlook, this is old here, but let's just remind you of this. Review your severe weather safety procedures, possibility of dangerous weather today. Stay tuned to the NOAA Weather Radio. I have a link in the description, but see if you find a more reliable radio or weather.gov or other media for watches and warnings. A tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form during the next several hours. If a tornado warning is issued in your area, move into a place of safety, ideally in a basement or interior room, lowest floor of a story building. So please stay safe. I cannot emphasize this enough. This will be very dangerous. So please be careful. There's here the European, we can see this complex trough across the western half of the US and starts digging into the plains there with slightly stronger shortwave spots in the southeastern side. So please stay safe. There's here for the storms now. So there's this first batch of storm spots of Arkansas, Missouri into early this afternoon, but later these ones start firing across Oklahoma to northern Texas and spots of Kansas to southeastern Kansas shows some very strong ones. As far north as Iowa, some storms. So but these ones across Kansas and Oklahoma will be the strongest. Sorry for this thing that keeps messing up because I want to show it up close. So this shows later in the evening as the dry line comes and more storms consolidate across eastern Oklahoma, especially central to eastern Oklahoma, but also Missouri. You can see the hurricane has this very strong line of storms with those damaging winds like hurricane force winds, and also in Kansas. So please stay safe. These goals show like especially later in the night across Arkansas, those are still some very big damaging winds, some embedded tornadoes within those cells. So it goes and still shows some rain tomorrow in some areas, and those storms go east. So please be careful. There's the 60 hertz to see if it showed something different. It showed a similar thing to a first batch of storms in Oklahoma. This is some intense supercells, and later they showed those other ones that dry line later to Oklahoma. So please be careful. You can kind of see here in the picture that swirl, that low pressure developing there. So please be careful. There's like the Cape shows in Oklahoma over 4,000 joules per kilogram in those areas, and even Oklahoma City to like close to 5,000 joules per kilogram. This goes shows like more in Arkansas. All that pink is above 3,000 joules per kilogram. More Missouri above 3,000 to 4,000 joules per kilogram. As far north as Nebraska to 3,000 joules per kilogram. So please stay safe, especially in Oklahoma, Texas, and those areas. So this goes, and later in the night it diminishes a little bit, but please be careful. There's a lot of energy for these storms, so it shows dew points as well. So this comes shows in the 60s to 70s, like you can see the 72 there. So in the 60s to 70s in Oklahoma, a very moist environment, and just to the west already like very low. So there's this sharp dry line. They'll go into Oklahoma, those storms, and then it mixes up. But please stay safe. That moisture plus the instability and that wind chill too. So please be careful and stay safe in those areas. Further south into Oklahoma and Texas, the shear will be slightly stronger than further north in Nebraska. So more strong tornadoes possible across Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas, but in all those areas, the Cape levels very high, above 4,000 joules per kilogram, the instability. So please stay safe. This is the significant tornado parameter now. So it does show like those areas of Oklahoma, especially this 18Z already shows some very high parameters southeastern Oklahoma, some into Texas, spots as far north as Nebraska, some, but this is still early. Let's see later what it shows like 21Z. By 21Z already shows spots of Missouri into Oklahoma. This is some very high values, especially in Missouri, some spots there. So let's see like central, south central, slightly closer. Shows here by 0Z, the storms will be already coming here, but ahead of them does show spots close to 6, 7 in Oklahoma, and more significant in the parameters up in Arkansas. So please stay safe. Texas shows some big ones too, and by later in the night still shows some big ones in Texas. So don't let your guard down there as well. Shows Missouri, those areas, and slightly later still shows as this comes there, and during the night a little bit less in the morning, but please stay safe. There's the lightning density here too is interesting. Shows as they fire some in Kansas, more storms there, especially later. Like it's a lot of lightning. Those ones in Oklahoma. This goes away by tomorrow, but please be careful, especially about this time later in the evening. So stay safe and there's like here's some interesting stuff. The simulated echo tops. This is just a forecast, only a simulation, but it might be interesting to see. Shows some very high ones in Missouri, more later in Kansas, in Oklahoma, especially in Arkansas shows too. So very severe storms. Please stay safe in those areas. And the Colorado State University even has a 30% tornado and wind and hail similar thing, but they have even more for wind, like hatched for 45%. That's practically the same thing as the Storm Prediction Center, but a very big wind day as well and hail. So please stay safe. And that's a pretty big tornado threat. I saw some other sources, like some other different models going up to 30% as well. So please stay safe. And tomorrow is still a 10% possible in the south there. So here for day two, we still have this enhanced risk, spots of Mississippi, into Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And this light risk from Louisiana to Ohio, this marginal. So there's still this 10% tornado threat around Kentucky to Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama, still hatched for still some potential strong tornadoes tomorrow. So stay safe. Please stay safe. There's still 30% wind, so still some damaging wind gusts tomorrow, and hail 15 or 5%. So tomorrow is more like wind and tornado, but still some big hail. Severe thunderstorms likely across parts of the Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley, and Tennessee Valley Tuesday. So stay safe. A mid-level trough will advance east to the Tennessee Ohio Valley by Tuesday afternoon and evening. At the surface low will move from northern Missouri to southern Iowa, east to the eastern Great Lakes by 12 Wednesday. A cold front will extend south from the surface low and move east from the central southern plains, beginning at the beginning of the period to the eastern Great Lakes and to Louisiana by the 12Z Wednesday. So please stay safe. And day three, just a marginal risk from Georgia to Maryland, so nothing that crazy, but still some storms possible. Isolated strong severe storms possible across southeast Virginia, North Carolina, along the Atlantic coast, Florida, Georgia border. So stay safe in those areas, but especially today is the real big day. So be careful, and also big in terms of flooding. So there's a moderate risk excessive rainfall spots of Arkansas into Oklahoma and Missouri too. There's the slight risk from Texas to Iowa and the marginal from Texas to North Dakota. So please be careful. So you are potentially facing flooding, giant hail, hurricane force winds, and intense tornadoes all in the same day in the same places. So this like extremely dangerous. Please do everything that you can to stay safe. Day two, a slight risk further east into the Ohio Valley, spots of the Midwest, and this bigger margin risk. Day three in the northeast, like mid-Atlantic. Day four further into New England, and day five gone. So stay safe. Those areas, day 1 through 7 still shows close to 5 inches in Missouri and northern Arkansas in those areas, and more into Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and some more rain in the east as well. So stay safe. In the southwest, very dry. So be careful. But day 1 through 5 shows only up to 4 inches there in some spots, but they between day 5 and day 7 there might be more. So stay safe in those areas. There's still like this extreme heat risk in Texas and this major, so still be careful. Few spots more than 100 degrees today. Tuesday still some extreme heat risk. Wednesday calms down but still major. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and yet again by next Sunday shows more major. So stay safe. But between Wednesday and Thursday might be worse for Southern California and Arizona, more moderate heat risk. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. And there's here regions. Let's see if there's something. This is the name, not the her. Shows like those intense storms as well. Some intense line of storms, one behind the other. The forecast of the name is slightly different from the position of the storms on the her, but it's very similar to like here those damaging winds. So please stay safe. There's like Cape as well. More interesting to see. So Monday, today's Monday, yeah. So this goes shows like late in the afternoon, the highest Cape around 5,000 joules per kilogram, 4,000 to spots to 5,000, and then it dies down later during the night. But please stay safe in those areas. And here's like the her a picture of the most unstable Cape and shear combined. So you can see now it's very unstable, especially later those reds showing up there more than 4,000 joules per kilogram. So stay safe and the wind vectors. So for day two, the Coral State University is still at 10%, just like them. They have a little bit more hail than the SPC and the winds similar to. So day 3 through 8, there on the East Coast, some more. Later by day 7, we might need to watch a thing or two in the plains again, but nothing too crazy right now. So stay safe in those areas. And it still shows Tuesday tomorrow some good dew points in the Mississippi Valley and spots of the south with that enhanced risk. So be careful in those areas. There's like the the whole place here, the whole lower 48 does show those areas, the significant tony parameter. The rest is pretty much clear, but later the show as far north as southern Illinois and Missouri, some parameters too later the evening. So please stay safe and be careful in those areas. There's here like for fire threat, it's interesting as well. Today's critical Texas into New Mexico and elevated in California and Arizona and spots of Texas as well. There's this isolated dry thunderstorms possible in New Mexico, so stay safe. Tomorrow there's nothing that crazy. So you can also see this wind like spinning there into that low pressure forming. That's interesting to see. So here shows like this rain accumulation too. The European does have like 5 days here, spots of the plains all the way to 4 inches, and even to like 4 inches and a half in a few spots in the European. The GFS is further north to Missouri. There's the icon to Arkansas as high as 6 inches, and the her just next 24 hours it shows already to 5 inches some spots just from the storms today. More spots in Missouri possible, so some heavy rain those storms. Stay safe. There's still some snow in the Rockies in those areas too, so be careful in those areas, but nothing that crazy compared to the severe storms. That's absolutely dangerous. So please stay safe. And even some mixed precipitation North Dakota, South Dakota. So because it does show here like next 5 days, more snow North Dakota, possible South Dakota too, and Colorado, some Wyoming, those areas there. So beware. Washington shows some more as well, especially like some 6 inches spots there. South Dakota, even to 7 inches, North Dakota actually, and South Dakota 2 inches, 3 inches, some in Colorado, spots Wyoming, into Idaho. So stay safe. New Mexico too. So be careful, but nothing that crazy. The GFS does have like some 3 inches. The Dakotas, more Wyoming. There's the icon Wyoming, like to 8 inches, well, some in the Dakotas. So be aware, nothing that crazy. There might be like a slight winter storm severity index in some of those mountains and into the Dakotas. Nothing too too concerning. So be careful. Shows in Quebec as well in Canada, spots of 13 centimeters, 10 centimeters, the European. Not as heavy as it showed yesterday, but still heavy. So not heavy, like 10 centimeters, some snow drizzles, but be careful anyway. Shows spots of New Brunswick, a finger or two as well. And there's this section that we didn't know is here, spots of the northeast, like 3 inches in spots in New Hampshire, some in Maine, Vermont possible. The GFS barely nothing, so we will keep watching. But the GFS is in Newfoundland a little bit more, and more in Quebec, that has more in Alberta, some snow too, western British Columbia, central areas. So the Europeans like focused on each specific mountain, those snow drizzles. Like in Yukon, shows some northwestern territories, I think, or two Nunavut. Like more in the extreme north, northern Alaska still expect some in the mountains in the south. So stay safe. Some rain in Atlantic Canada as well, especially in western British Columbia on the coast. More rain, so be aware those areas. And still we have some storms later today in Mexico, the just off the highlands and spots of Mexico City, central eastern Mexico. So some lightning, those as well, potentially some strong winds or hail. Nothing crazy like the US, but just be aware as well. Might accumulate some more rain there. And please stay safe those areas. Let's see if there's something else important. Like there's these two, this warning, still like some red flag warnings in the south, so some flood watches, wind advisories, and red flag in California, and some even a freeze watch in the mountains in Utah, New Mexico. So be careful, like freeze warning in dark there. So stay safe. And here there's like this the day 6 to 10 shows those below average temperatures possible further east. And in terms of temperature, still close to more than 100 in southern Texas, even to 105 or 106. So be careful. Some 90s in Florida in the southwest, and slightly colder in the upper Rockies and the plains, the northern plains colder. And show like some 40s, 30s, even teens in Colorado by Tuesday morning tomorrow. Still hot around the southwest and the southeast in the 90s, and spots of Texas more than 100 Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday still cold in the Rockies and the Cascades, Sierra Nevada, and North Dakota. In South Dakota, some 30s, 20s in the mountains, and still shows like Wednesday afternoon, more than 100 in the southwest, some 90s, and in the south as well. So stay safe. There's day 3 for Thursday morning, still colder spots of the northern plains, the Rockies, the northern Midwest, like Wisconsin, and still shows like to 105, or even like southernmost California, right on the border, might get to 107 too. So stay safe in those areas. Still shows by Friday, slightly colder in the Rockies, and still hot in the south during the night. By Friday afternoon, still some 90s, 100s spots in the south, southwest. Still kind of cold in the mountains. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, still some 90s, close to 100 in Texas and California and Florida. So still by Sunday morning, slightly colder in the Rockies, some far east and northeast, and Sunday afternoon, close to 100 again. Might be more than 100 in California. So be careful those areas. Show some strong winds in the plains still. This is just wind itself, not associated with the severe weather. It does show some high gusts in Texas and New Mexico, more than 50 mile per gusts. So stay safe in those areas. Shows that there's snow as well in the Rockies and spots South Dakota. And yeah, so stay safe. And the 48-hour precipitation does show spots of Missouri, Oklahoma, there into as far north as Minnesota, some more as well. So yeah, stay safe and just yeah. So be careful. Let's just zoom in very quick to see something in the southeast. So it does show some 96, 95, might be locally higher in some spots there. So yeah, stay safe. In terms of more like wind gusts, shows those strong winds around that low pressure, and in the southwest as well, that far threat still by Tuesday evening in the plains, strong winds. Be careful. Thursday, potentially that low pressure near the northeast. Thursday afternoon, some stronger gusts into Atlantic Canada. Be careful, like from 40 to 55 mile per gust, some spots to the northeast, and like some 60 to 80 kilometer per gust, not Atlantic Canada, even as high as like 90 in a few spots. So stay safe too. This goes later, nothing too crazy, just some Gulf of Alaska storms there, and maybe some wind in Western Canada to the Western US later. So stay safe and please be careful. Those storms, check the links, the description to see the warnings. If you don't have a reliable way, if you have, please use it and find the best way to receive those warnings. Let's just see those storms again here, just to remind us of how dangerous they will be. So shows like those supercells start firing there, those areas like south here. So especially later this afternoon, as I showed you before, in parts of Texas, in Oklahoma. So please stay safe. You saw those tornadoes in Colorado, southern Kansas yesterday night. So terrifying. So the same thing might happen to you in Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas today. So please stay safe and have a plan like to escape, and please be careful and stay safe and be smart, especially be smart, stay safe.